the review of the Peeps with QuickTimes, but they weren't all up to date. Most of the stuff that's on the website at the moment is more up to date than the QuickTimes that are currently in the Dropbox folder. So maybe next time around we'll look at the QuickTimes in the Dropbox folder if they're all up to date. So anyway, let's have a quick look at these. And that's very nice. That's in the ballpark of what I was imagining we were looking for. I think one of the things, I brought some props with me here to explain a few things. So one of the things I noticed was that you tilted the character up that way, which is fine for a few of them, but I'd prefer not to have too many scenes do that. I think generally speaking it would be nice to have the characters move kind of like this, and so they lead with their tops and they might tilt a bit, but I don't want them to dip too much like they're swimmers. They kind of, I suppose these sort of feel like they are, but I just want to avoid that a little bit too much, because I'm not looking for them to feel like swimmers. I want them to feel like, it's almost like they're pawns on a chessboard really, but they happen to be moving in space, in 3D space. And so ultimately what we're looking for these things is exactly what you've got, is that sort of feeling that the two characters are snuggling, and that's working very nicely on that. In fact, what I'm going to do is move to your next example. Let's have a look what we got. So this is the splitting up scene. And actually, you've done a really good job with this now. The idea that I had to explain a little bit in some of my earlier text was that basically although we've got a little bit more time to have the characters come together, generally speaking, when we're having them split up, it's quite a violent action, and what's happening is the devil will be over here and he's going to fire his wand. There'll be a beam and it will hit the couple who are together, and they'll just go like this, and they'll be instantly split up. So we don't really have a lot of time to see them go through in a big drama. There might be one or two scenes where we can integrate a split up drama, but they won't be the scenes where the beam is being used to split them up, and that's most commonly where we're going to have a close-up on the characters being split up. So if you're doing a drama of two characters splitting up and it takes a lot of screen time, chances are it's not going to feature in one of the close-ups, unless I can think of one right now. A good example of that actually is we've got another one here which we can play from the beginning. Right, now this one is very interesting. It's like we're trying to create a high drama scenario here. It's like they get together, they have their moment, and then she slaps him or something. Quite where we'll use it, I'm not sure. I think we can probably find a use for it in that shot Nick, you were talking about at the very end. But if you do that, what you're going to need to do is have your characters first. Well, you might be able to put two scenes next to each other, basically, because we're going to be firing good and bad beams into the same sphere. So what you could perhaps do is have your breakup scene and then immediately have them get back together again, because we will make it so that a good beam hits them immediately after they've been split up, so there's this sort of backwards and forwards. Or you can put it the same scene on the beginning. I mean, ultimately you could put it on either side, and we'll just have to arrange them in the scene so that the beams hit them in the right way in order to make it happen that way. But at the moment, this scene probably wouldn't work in the sections where the devil's beam hits them and they split up, because it's happening over a much longer period of time. So we've got the breakup that kind of happens here. And the two characters don't burst apart. Only one of them comes away, so I can't see that working very well with the beam section. Maybe that scene is going to be better off finished as a one-off where we do have some high drama, but we can have no more scenes with high drama of them splitting up, because there's not going to be enough sections for them to be used in, for the time being anyway. I'm not actually quite sure. I guess those big popping purples are meant to be explosions, are they? I'm not sure. You might want to explain exactly what's happening here, because, well, we can kind of see it, but the characters do go a little bit dead. So it'd be nice to just, maybe they swirl around each other or something like that if they are together, you know. Just something to give them some life. And the important thing with all of these scenes is that we need to add lots of frames at the beginning and the end of them just being alive. It might be that, okay, we're doing a coupling scene, and the first thing we need to just do is have them just drifting around in the sphere, minding their own business before they become interested. Because what happens here is that basically Cupid's beam is going to fire, we're going to put a bubble around that character, a profile will pop up, you'll see the statistics change, and then Cupid's beam is going to fire again, hit the second character, a bubble is going to form around that one, a profile pops up, and the statistics will come up for that one, and we'll show that the two statistics are compatible, and then the characters will be pulled together like that, and the bubble will form into one bubble around both of the peeps, so that we can see them merge together, and that's when they can do their little thing. So in a sense, what we're looking at here is general life. They're struck by the beam, and they hold in that position. They're struck by the beam over here, and they hold in that position. Then they suck together like this. Then they can do their thing. And what we really want to do is have a few scenes where they might actually get it on, and a baby pops out. But we don't need all of them to be like that. But the general idea is that once they're together, then we need to give them some life as well. And I mean a few hundred frames worth of life. It just could be this, just something like this on a cycle or something for a few hundred frames. That way we can take the entire scene, pull it into the sphere, move them around, slip them in time and everything, and we'll have a lot of options about how to use them. If you do a scene that is only it, where they have it's going to only be used in one specific place. If it doesn't have all the animation either side of it, it'll make it very hard to use, because we're just going to look at it and go, okay, this scene isn't usable in lots of shots. So make sure you've got all of that, and that way you've got a better chance of it being used several times over from lots of different angles. And also we're looking to get some more animation into the more general folders, so you can afford to do one where it's just one guy doing not a lot. Doesn't have to do a lot. Now that guy, if we have a perfect guy who's just sitting around doing a lot, he might get multiplied 100 times and used in every single shot in the film. So it's well worth doing that scene well. Whereas the scenes where you get too specific might only be used once. So just bear that in mind when you're doing filling up the folders. That's the general gist of it. Next time I'm hoping that perhaps I might be able to use Flipbook to go through these things. I haven't actually got the latest version installed at the moment, so I can't do that right now, but with any luck I should be able to use Flipbook so that I can start drawing over the quick times and give you a better idea of what I'm trying to achieve. Anyway, thank you very much, and good luck.